can't say 75% of what you say, but have a great time.
Do you watch her videos, Isabelle? Her videos.
I've got to watch some of them. I've got to. I rarely have the time to finish them, but I get the gist of it. I'm not going to talk about her latest, but I suggest you try it.
She keeps us going. She really does. Yeah. She keeps us alive.
And her kids are the best.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, you make me so nervous when you watch. I feel like I have to watch my language.
No, well, you probably do. I don't know. I know I have to. I don't know what the rules are for you guys. But
Heather doesn't go with the rules. You just let it go. Kids are in the room. We just tell them to plug their
minimize it to 3F for the evening.
That's hard. That's hard.
You gotta limit it.
That's awesome.
Well, I know Sandy will edit the crap out of it if that's the case.
That's so funny. I love it. Well, we know you're busy. We know you have a lot going on. We know you have your own kids.
Everyone is busy. It's all good.
That's so true, right? Like
everyone is busy, and you show up when it's worth it and when it feels good to show up. So here we all are.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. We are so appreciative. We really are. And then Heather's going to take it away. She's agreed to start this off and kick things off. So go for it, girl.
So thank you so much for being on our call, Isabelle. We are super excited. For those of you guys who don't know, Isabelle Daikeler, she is the co-creator of Shakeology, of Ultimate Reset, of the 3-Day Refresh, and of the Daily Sunshine.
And the Boost.
Yeah, and the Boost. And the Daily Sunshine that we're upset we're not getting in Canada yet, but that's not your fault. And she's also a nutritionist and a personal trainer. I don't know how many of you guys know about that, but Isabelle is a personal trainer, and I'm just wondering when you're going to be the next super trainer for us. Where's your workouts?
Well, here we go. As far as nutritionist and trainer goes, when my son was born, it was the end of me continuous education for my FUN and all the requirement to keep your degree. So to be completely transparent, ever since that little guy came on board and I started my work with Beachbody and Carl, that has been sort of more of my background. It is not something that I actively, what's the word in English? People that work with me on one-on-one understand that it's part of my background, but my career, which is very interesting, and I wonder if some of you relate to that. My careers have changed constantly. So I was not a person who knew what she wanted to do, went to school, graduated, got my degrees, and did my job. So as my life forced me to evolve and grow and to learn lessons, each time I learned lesson, my career changed. And so I would sort of, I went from trainer to nutritionist to track and field coach, to what they call life coach now. And it continued, and it went, funny enough, talking to all of you guys throughout the last few months that I got back on track. My boy's 9 and I'm sort of more free. I realized that it's actually becoming more, dare I say, energetic and spiritual. So I was not one that was raised with any religion. There was a belief in God, but it was very casual, holidays, wearing the Christ and things like that. But I was not raised with any real education when it came to some kind of belief in consciousness or life. And as I'm watching my career unfold, I feel like I've accumulated all sorts of degrees and experiences, all the way to now my spirit being more and more involved in what I do. It's the accumulation of it all that I feel is making me the most able to be of service to the most. So being able to relate to as many human beings as possible. And I include all the mistakes, how many times I fell flat on my face, how many wounds I experienced and inflicted. Because we always think of the people that we have to go to therapy for, but we forget that some people are going to therapy because of us. So It's a two-way thing. So I'm noticing that there's an evolution, and now that I'm on this platform, I don't relate to any one of them, but I relate in the accumulation of all of it together. And I feel that that relates to what you guys do. Interestingly enough, you may have had specific jobs, or you may have been a human being who lived through events, whether it was emotional, physical, psychologically demanding and challenging, big, terrible things happening, death. Being a mother is a huge one, raising kids, being married, dealing with families. And I feel that this is why this platform is so, it's like the soil for you to emerge from. Because so often I feel like mothers and women are not utilized to their fullest because of this ability to nurture and create life with the help of life itself, of was going to say God, but I don't want to offend anybody. Whatever the mystery of life itself is, you know, the mystery of creating a life, everything that we live is what allows you to be those amazing coaches. Because as human beings, as mothers and as wives, you can so understand all that human beings go through if you allow yourself. And because you have that ability to nurture a life and to help a life grow through all the stuff that we go through in a life, then you can listen to someone, then you can really take them in, hear what they really need, and then with the platform, try to provide what that individual actually needs. And I feel it's a mirror of what I do, because that's what my whole life was. I feel like my whole life led me to provide the services that I provide through Beachbody and to you guys. I feel like without the human aspect and the mother and all that aspect of me, I would be incomplete to be here with you and to hopefully enhance you all, to be of service. I feel like my degrees are the smallest aspect of it, funny enough. And so I just had to mention that, because as I'm speaking to all the coaches and traveling a little bit more and stepping onto the platform physically more as opposed to being in the background, I feel like what allows me to really answer in a way that makes me feel well used is all these life experiences. So I wanted to share with you today that that's also what makes you the best at being a Beachbody coach. More than anything else, it's the accumulation of all these incredibly difficult experiences that as mothers, as wives, as women, as human beings, we move through. I feel like Beachbody, and I'm very proud of that, is a platform we are very welcome as women. And that our experiences as human beings is also more than welcome, but important to have. And important to understand that that's where your true value is as human beings. And this is why you're so amazing at what you do. Does that make sense with any of you?
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that reminds me of your videos that you have on your wall. I was watching your emotional eating video that you did a year ago, and it changes everything. It changes everything. You know, when you're talking about the breathing and you're talking about going for the walk and basically kind of forgiving yourself for being in a situation like that, so you're not so hard on yourself.
Right.
For constantly falling back into bad habits. That those bad habits that we may have had for the past 10 years don't have to be those going forward. We don't have to take that with us.
And you don't even have to focus on the last 10 years or the next 10 years. You can just focus on this very moment where you have that pain, that experience, and you just focus on getting through that one. That's all. You don't even try to think of the future. You just stay there and you embrace that difficult moment. You don't deny it. You don't judge it. There's nothing wrong with there. If it's there, it's for you to experience. And so you experience it. You allow yourself to find that experience, however bad you may have thought it is there for a reason, to be experienced and to be let go in that moment. And if you were able to let it go in that moment, well, good for you. And be proud And that's it. Don't even focus on the next moment. You know, we're too hard on ourselves and we judge ourselves completely all the time about every single thing that ever happens to us, and it exhausts me. And I think it's enough. And this is why I love having all these women in front of me, because I think we are very important to the changes that are needed in our society, especially when it comes to health and well-being and self-acceptance and utilizing the platform and the products to feel good, to be healthy, to be able to participate in life, not to vilify your body in order to look like a size 2 and whatever else you can look at. That annoys me. I think it's old news. So whatever healthy is for you, this is why we're here. And this is why being perfect has nothing to do with Beachbody. Beachbody is about being human, about supporting each other, about sharing your health and your well-being and bringing another human being up. As opposed to often in life, you bring other human beings down in order to be up. And so that's not what we're about. And this is why I love us. I really do, because it's very welcome here.
I love that. Being healthy. Like, being healthy is what it's all about. It's not about the size, the shape, the number on the scale. And we talk about that in our challenge groups, right? But I love that you mentioned that. And so I'm glad you.
Yeah, because, you know, we have all these fun things to encourage you to keep going, but they're just fun things. They're not the end result. The end result is when you get up in the morning, how do you feel about yourself right now? Not when you're going to look perfect, but right now, for who you are right now. And it's very important because I've worked with, you know, my background that I don't want to focus on in terms of pre-Beachbody, when she was mentioning my work as a track and field coach, as a nutritionist and trainer. I worked with a lot of people in the film industry. And so I've had experiences with the people that most people look up to as being perfect. And I can tell you that if they didn't think they were perfect 20 years ago, all the success that was brought upon them did not make them feel perfect or happier. Maybe for a while, but eventually, deep within yourself, what you truly feel about yourself is still there if you haven't dealt with it. And toys and things don't cover that up. This is why it's very important to try to help all of ourselves here to achieve that, not as I will when, but now. I am now. I'm proud of myself for being on this call. I'm proud of myself for taking care of myself this morning. Right now, this is how you get true self-worth. And this is also how that strength and that light in you will be the most powerful thing to help transform another human being. So it's very important. You know, all the great scriptures talk about it. All the great masters talk about it. And if we can live just a little moment of that every day, we're blessed. All right, hit me with the questions.
Okay, so I was in Punta Cana and I loved hearing you speak while you were on stage, and I almost felt like you clarified a lot of things to do with Shakeology that maybe I didn't educate myself enough on, or that I didn't understand.
No, I had never talked about it. Carl had never mentioned it.
Oh.
It's on stage that I found out that he wanted me to talk about it. Okay. So that was the first time that I went into it.
Okay, perfect. So I'm not crazy. That's good news.
No.
That's good news.
Yes.
Do you mind touching upon that again
a
little bit?
Do you know if most people know about it, or you think most people don't know about it?
There wasn't that many
people. Like we had a handful of us at Punta Cana, but the majority of everyone on this call probably hasn't heard it. So it's up to you how much you want to share.
Yeah, this is why I was asking.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try to hopefully touch on all the important points that will serve you in what you do, because that's the purpose. It's not about trying to talk about me, but it's about what do I have to say that may serve you. So the beginning of Shakeology started a long time ago when I was in my very early 20s, and let me preface that with the fact that I was not a person who ate McDonald's or drank Coke. I have a semi-European background, so salad, help, grains, fruit, vegetables. It's part of the way we eat. And some bad stuff that I didn't know was bad at the time. But overall, it was decent, right? I would think back in those days, I thought I was okay. And I was active. I was always a very active person. And yet, in my early 20s, I started to have an autoimmune disease. But I don't like saying that. I don't think I had anything. I think I just needed to understand my body and myself better, to take better care of it. But at the time, nobody understood what was going on. I had less and less energy, unable to think, unable to focus. And I got to a point where I did the rounds and rounds of doctors, conservative medicine, and nobody had answers for me. And yet I end up to a point, and I think it's vital to hear that, where I could not even go up a mini steps to come inside my home at the time. And I collapsed. And I couldn't open the door, and I was there for a long time crying because I was so tired that I couldn't get to my bed, and nobody had answers. That had gone on for at least 2 years, getting worse and worse. And sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to discover something new. And so I decided to stop seeing regular doctors and start investigating how other nations, other countries, other ways of people, Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Indian. I started studying how did they go about taking care of their health. And that led me in the world of whole food, of healing through food, of adaptogens, of prebiotic, probiotic, systemic enzyme, digestive enzyme, all the elements that are in the shake, phytonutrients, antioxidants, gut health, and then, of course, emotional, psychological, and spiritual health, which the whole thing is one big thing. But then I started shopping at Korean and Chinese and Japanese areas in LA downtown. And I started meeting those kind of doctors, acupuncture, homeopathy, osteopathy, and great kind souls that knew that I was dead broke and needed help badly, and helped me, educated me. And I started shopping for herbs and roots, and I had to cook everything because I didn't have the money to buy things that were already in powdered form and in pills. So I cooked my own roots, my own vegetables, my own herbs, my own mushrooms, and I started utilizing their gifts and their knowing. And within 3 months, I started feeling a difference. So that right there changed my career, changed my life, because here's was food, whole food that I didn't know anything about and did not know how to extract to get the healing benefit from. And so it led me into to this day, a nonstop discovery and learning of how food and herbs and adaptogens and all these beautiful things coming from planet Earth can actually heal us. Of course, right? We are it. And so I healed myself, and well, I should say through the help of these elements, I healed myself. Through the help of these beautiful people that educated me, I healed myself. And these broth, these serum, and I started making shakes. So I started realizing that these things tasted terrible. Most people didn't want to have it. And usually, if you're dead sick, have anything. But I was dealing with people that were not that, they were not that sick, but were not great, or they had specific chronic pain or inability to get up in the morning and have a good sense of well-being. But eventually I dealt with people that were actually quite ill too. But it's always good if your pill tastes good, right? If your medicine tastes good. So I started blending these things. I would cook all that and try to formulate it in a way, in a shake that was more yummy to have. Never as good as Shakeology because I didn't have a lab, but that's where my career started when it comes to these kind of elements. So that became my protocol. That was part of my nutrition and my training. And it became a thing. Everybody that knew about me knew that I would try by talking with them, by getting a full blood panel, and on and on. I would work with their doctors and I would concoct these shakes for them. And I've been doing that for 20 years, first one-on-one and then groups. And then I met Carl. And then I moved in with Carl. And of course, he started seeing me doing that day in and day out with my child, with him, with his daughter, with friends, with my nanny, with my maid, with everybody, because that's just what I do. And I love it. And he asked me to do it for Beachbody. So the background of Shakeology is to be of service and to heal the whole person, to try to make the body congruent within your appearance, your organs. You have many different systems, cardiovascular system, you have your thymus, you have your adrenals, you have your, I don't want to go too deep in all these aspects of your internal body, but they have to work as a perfect team. If one of the team players is not in, you will suffer the consequences. So the healing of the whole is what I was in love with. All these systems and that whole food, things provided from planet Earth could help you a great deal. Does that mean that once in a while you may not need to go to a regular doctor? Of course not, but we're trying to avoid that. We want to prevent disease. We want to do our best to keep ourselves as healthy as possible. As we are aging, as the inevitable will happen, we want to try to be as productive and a sense of well-being that doesn't have to go down because we are aging. Aging is one thing, growing old is another thing. And so Carl asked me to provide that service for Beachbody, but I said no, very strong no, and he really had to insist. And then we had to have a little contract between he and I, because in my experience, I had worked by then before Carl with several CEOs, and I had made shakes for companies. And when the profit came in, the quality will go down. Not to vilify, as I keep saying now, these individuals, because now that I'm in the machine, right, I'm within this company, I see why it's so challenging to not do that. It's a heck of a job. And I understand that everybody is set up for that. But I was also very black and white, like my younger days. I've learned to have a greater understanding and more compassion. But with this particular company, as I said on stage that day, if this particular CEO was going to disappoint me and try to sabotage or bring the quality down, I could not leave him, because in the past I would just walk and quit. And lose my bonuses and my name and all that on the product, but I didn't care. But this guy I love a lot, and I don't want to lose him, and I enjoy his company a great deal. So I'm like, I don't want to do it, because if you mess that up, I'm going to be so mad at you, and I'm going to have to stay with you, and I don't know if I can live with that. So that was a big deal for me. And so once we had an agreement, I needed help to achieve that. And I met, because it was meant to be, I met this amazing man, Darren O'Lean, that you probably all know, who then became my amazing partner and allowed this shake to come to life. And so how we met, Darren and I, just so you know, is I had a list of ingredients that were very important to me, most of them in the shake. And I asked Darren to bring his list, and our list was practically identical. Of course, there's so many ingredients in the world that there was some different, but it was basically the same. And we looked at each other, and it was like, okay, this is meant to be. And that was it. And that's my story. So the shake is really about well-being and about healing and being in service. And the integrity of this product is based on the fact that Darren has his own story, and I know that it's the same for him. I can speak for him. The integrity of the product is crucial, because I have lived being very ill, very broke, very scared, getting no solution, getting no help, and just feeling like it was the end. And the idea that I would cheat, lie, and not enhance someone's well-being because of my inability to uphold that integrity, I cannot live with it. And I know that shame and guilt and all these other emotions create illness in our bodies. That is the truth for me. So the last thing I want to do for a selfish reason, but also because I know I'm here to serve others. That's my greatest joy. And so a win-win situation here. I can uphold my integrity and stay healthy, and I can serve others, meaning mothers and human beings and kids, children, husband, grandmother, sick people. I can enhance them if I keep my words and I keep my integrity. So that's how important this is for me. And I know it's the same for Darren, and I know it's the same for Carl. So Carl never broke his word. Any profit we make, we put back in the shake, because the shake costs a lot of money. We can go deep into that if you want at some point. But it's incredible. I've never seen that, and I'm so proud of him. And he goes through a lot of stuff. I would actually use one of your words, Heather, if I could. But he goes through a lot in order to keep his word, and it's quite inspiring. And so I'm very proud of our product, and I'm very proud to have you all here. So I hope this was sort of what you wanted to get from this question, Heather.
Yes, it was. I appreciate it because, yes, the story that we heard from you was incredible on stage, and it really clarified a lot of things. And to touch also, while we're still on that topic, is you mentioned at that trip that you added 2 new elements to Shakeology.
Yes.
And if you can go through that and explain what 2 elements, and also, is it in all of the Shakeology? Like all the flavors, did you add it to?
Green tea and Shaga, it's in all the Shakeology, yes.
Yeah, if you could tell us about that, that'd be great.
Yeah, so those are just matcha green tea and Shaga, mushroom, adaptogen, modulator, they're called. Those are 2 elements that added with all the other elements of Shakeology is all about your immunity, your immune system, your ability to handle stress, emotional, psychological, and physical stress. So the purpose of these 2, so Shaga is the king of mushrooms. It's an adaptogen. So to clarify what adaptogens are, to make it super simple, so perhaps you can explain that to others, because they're crucial parts of our shake. We love them. So let's say you take a drug to take care of something, an ailment of yours. When you take a drug, very often there's side effects. That's why you see that great list, right? Because it's very challenging to go inside the body, deal with the achy element of your body, the part that's not functioning well, without messing up a little bit of the other elements that were doing just fine. They were just doing their job. There was one thing here that was off, and they try to bring that in, but sometimes it causes all sorts of side effects because of it's not whole food, it's a drug. Now, at times we need drugs. Let me be clear. I've needed drugs in my life, so I get it. But most of the time, we can really help our body without the help of those drugs that can cause a disruption of that congruency that we need, that alignment of all of these internal systems, that when they're aligned, they help you keep healthy. So the beauty of adaptogen, as in Shaga, it can go inside your body and we don't have to tell it anything. It knows exactly, it's quite incredible. It knows exactly what to do. It will go exactly where it's needed, help that particular aspect of your body get better without disrupting anything else. So it's quite a little smart miracle there. And so the more the better, in terms of if we can find a adaptogen synergy, that means that it could be 6, it could be 3, it could be 2, but if the synergy is good, it's extremely enhancing to your body, to your body's ability to handle stress. So that synergy is quite wonderful with the green tea, matcha green tea, which has polyphenol and certain constituents that also are helpful to your immune system, to your ability to be well. Adding these constituents that are within the green tea, the matcha green tea. Now, the beauty of matcha green tea is it has an energy. It allows a sense of energy. It brings energy. But unlike coffee, it has constituents inside of it, in that chemical makeup of matcha green tea, that allows it to be nice and calm and soothing energy. So there's a few constituents within matcha green tea that together allows you to have that sort of nice, steady energy without the crashing. It's just built that way. So it's perfect. This is why some people utilize matcha green tea for meditation, because some of them meditate for 6 hours. So it allows them to have a sustained energy without that jerky feeling where they could not sit and facing a wall for 6 hours. So it's quite a wonderful, another addition of polyphenol or constituents that are similar to phytonutrients and antioxidants, elements from the deep green and the superfruit in the shake. They sort of a different angle, a different way to enhance your immune system. So of course, these two elements mixed with the other elements of the shake is a wonderful new addition to the synergy of ingredients to help you be well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And actually, to touch on that, so does that mean when you choose your ingredients to go into the shake, you're not choosing it just so that each ingredient does something on its own? You're also looking at how the ingredients are working together, right?
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah,
okay.
It's incredible how, again, Mother Nature, that's something that even whole vitamins, some vitamins will add cayenne pepper to certain ingredients, cinnamon, because it will enhance the ability, the bioavailability or the strength of another ingredient. So they're like the best partners. So the synergy of all these ingredients is the key to the Shakeology formula. So that's where we have our 20-something people and our amazing research and development team. That's a hard word for me to say. And quality assurance team and our outside experts that bring on all the time to educate us, because learning never ends. And they help us understand all that. And whenever there's a progress, we can utilize that progress and to make sure that that synergy is real. It's not just a bunch of ingredients put together to make it look good on the back of your bag. It really has a very real reason to be together. Now, by the way, we could have chosen a whole bunch of other ingredients or a different kind of mismatch synergy that we would have worked on. There's many ways of putting elements together, but at some point we had to make a choice. There's so much to choose from, and it took about 2 years or 2.5 years to work on the synergy of these ingredients, and then at least a year to work on how to make these things taste good without putting any chemicals, which makes the whole thing very easy, but it defeats the purpose. So we had to find out a way to create yumminess with things that are pungent and, sour and, all these different tastes that all these roots have that just don't mix well together at all. So finding a way with our amazing, scientists to blend that together, to find kind, non-harmful method of processing the whole thing so that all the constituents and the bioavailability and the aliveness of what is in those ingredients, in these plants, in these vegetables, in these fruits, was kept intact. So that alone took at least a year so that it would taste so good, because we knew that if you didn't like it, there's no way you would stick to it. And what matters is, it's like anything. If you exercise 1 day a week, I don't know how much result you'll get. If you drink 1 glass of water a day, not so good. If you have 1 nice meal a day, but the rest sucks, not so good. It's the same thing with Shakeology. We were trying to make sure that you guys would want to reach for it every day. So the accumulation of ingesting a powerful, potent meal, drink, shake, would be cumulative. Since it's preventive, it's feeding what your body needs every day. It needs this every day. So it's not, it's not 1 thing a week and all is well. This is why we say drink it every day. It's not just to sell it. It's the truth. We don't say just eat 1 good meal a day and you're good. What dietitian tells you that? What kind of trainer will say work out once a week and you'll be fine? We all know that it's the consistency. Who is that? Should I decline? Can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you, but good.
Yeah, so we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so we had to make sure that it would be yummy enough that you would want to have it every day.
Oh, so on that line, what about protein? How did you guys decide the amount of protein that you were going to include in Shakeology? Like, why isn't there more?
Well, this is not about more. This is not more is better. It's about balance. It's about synergy. So let me find something, because I love the way Mike, so basically my answer, but I love how people that are American can say things so nicely. But this shake for Darren and I is never about the protein. It's about a balance of ingredients that provides the balance that your body needs. It's very easy to add more protein. There's nothing to it. But does it mean that this intense load on your liver and your digestive tract of protein in imbalance with the rest will provide better results? Not at all. So the shake was never about how much protein can we put in there. It was about the ratio of protein, carbs, fat, fiber, minerals, vitamins, adaptogens, prebiotic, probiotics, enzymes, all these in good balance so that your body is in good balance as well. So that's the easiest thing to do. There's nothing to it. You just add more whey or more vegan protein. But that's not the point of Shakeology. Now, well said, the American way. Mike, who's the head of R&D and quality assurance, said, because I was wondering what his way of saying it would be, we could easily add more protein, but that is not what Shakeology is about. Shakeology was designed to be a source of balanced nutrition to help people achieve a healthy daily diet. Shakeology is actually an excellent source of protein. Chocolate Shakeology, for example, provides around 37% of an average adult's daily protein needs, but only 8% of your daily calorie, which is really cool. When it comes to nutrition, getting the proper amount is critical, but too much, especially all in one serving, is not necessarily beneficial. So it's basically what I felt as well. And you know, if you want more protein, add more protein. And you can do that by adding more whey. You can do that by adding an avocado. You can do that by adding an egg. There's many ways to add more protein, but that is not what we were about. We were about that balance. But, you know, feel free to change that around if that's what you want. That's not complicated. But don't add another kind of whey protein because it probably will not be as good quality, and then it sucks because then the whole shake goes down. Go for food, please.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and I'm
personal opinion.
Keeping with that, can you clarify for us how we should be sharing Shakeology? Like, we've seen some people say it's a meal replacement, and then some people have turned around and said, no, it's not a meal replacement. So is there a way we should be sharing it? Like, would you consider it a meal replacement, or there's not enough calories in it or not enough nutrients to be considered a full meal? Like, what's your opinion on that?
Well, many people use it as a meal replacement. Shakeology was made with a low calorie, especially to make sure that if you want it as a snack, just water, shake and go, you could have it as a snack. If you wanted to use it with other meal planned, that the snack has to be 100 to 200 calories, you could utilize the shake as that. But also, you can build it up. So if you want to make it a meal replacement, you can do what I always do. Because I use it as, well, I use it as breakfast number 1. 2 hours later, I have breakfast number 2. But that's another story. But that Carl is very able to have just one breakfast. So I add almond milk, fresh squeezed, you know, the almonds that you soak and then you blend them, so it's very rich. So I use almond milk. I put a third, if not a half, of avocado. Sometimes I add a bit of banana, just a little piece of banana in it. I'll add coconut oil. Sometimes I'll add almond butter. I make it very dense. So that makes it a heck of a meal. Better than any meal I could cook probably. So I feel, to me, there's no limitation. Now, if I had made it 400 calories plus what you add, it would have been too much for most people in their diet. So it's providing flexibility. And again, to me, the beauty of that is that you can hear what that particular person needs, or that particular person can get to know thyself and understand her or his need. So if you need to build it up as a meal, by all means, build it up. If as is better for you as a snack, by all means, do that. You can make it anything you want, really. I like that. I like to be able to make, I make all sorts of different kind of shake depending on what I need. Sometimes I just add more spinach because the shake is so good that you can even add a lot of stuff like that and you don't really taste it that much. So it depends what you want it to be. That's also the purpose behind the boosts, to help you become your own formulator according to what your day or your week is like. If you've been binging and eating crap, you may want to add fiber and green boost in order to help your body deal with that, and also to be regular, because usually when we eat bad food, there's not much fiber in there and it causes a problem. So does that help? Is that an answer for you?
No, that's a perfect answer, because I think that's been a great debate with a lot of people. And this way, I think we know better how to approach each potential client, because we can figure out what their needs are. If they need a full meal, then we can advise them to add things to it. But if they just need that snack that's only like 100 to 200 calories, then there you go. It can be everything. So that's perfect.
And it's good to know that it's dense in nutrition. That's the beauty of it, is the calorie may be a certain way, but even if they just put water, it is still dense in nutrition. And that's important.
I have to say that, what does Carl always say? It's a dose of dense nutrition. And I like
dose of dense nutrition.
But I like what you said, powerful, potent meal. Like, I like that. I might have to share that one more. I have to tell them that's a good one.
Something different finally, right?
Yeah.
And that's why we have all these recipes with Shakeology, right? Mm-hmm. So that you can make it what you want. So a lot of mothers make it a dessert. It tastes good. It tastes like a sweet dessert, and yet it's a daily dose of dense nutrition.
Yeah, we were talking about before you got on the call that a lot of our team likes to eat their food, so they eat the Shakeology, right? They make pudding or, whatever.
Yeah, and even when you make the Shakeology in a blender, if you add half an avocado, ice, and a nice rich milk, and depending on how much water and ice you put, it can become so thick that you can scoop it like a pudding, just like that. That's what I did this morning. So, it's very flexible, and I like that.
And do you taste the avocado? Because I really hate avocado.
No, you don't.
Okay.
That's the beauty of it. And it makes it smooth. It makes it like a milkshake. It's incredible, Heather. Give it a shot. Start with a third, and you'll see you won't taste it, and it changes the textures completely. It's nice. And avocado, it's like a miracle of life. It has fiber.
Yeah, I wish I liked it. I know it's a really healthy fat, and I just can't stand the texture or anything about it. So,
Heather, okay. Please let us know if that works for you.
I definitely will. Definitely will. I'll make a video without the F-bombs in it for you.
And if you want to be totally safe, like start with a big tablespoon maybe. Just to make sure, because even a tablespoon, Heather, like a full tablespoon, that's good for your body. So don't underestimate even that amount, if you can sneak that.
I will definitely do that. And what about heating it up? Because there is this amazing Shakeology mug cake, but it's heated up. And then there's these muffins that you bake, but it's heated up. But we've always been told that something happens if you heat Shakeology up. So can you tell us about that?
Well, I'm going to read Mike. There's 3 questions that I asked Mike because I love the way he says things. But just to let you know, it's whole food, right? So, and we have prebiotic, and we have systemic enzymes, and we have minerals and some vitamins that are very fragile. So they will be compromised in the heating process. But the macro ingredients, your carbs, your protein, your fiber, all that will remain the same, pretty much, depending on what the recipe is. So I'm going to read Mike's. Shakeology was not designed to be heated since, you made a mistake here. Since it does have heat-sensitive ingredients. However, it will not cause it to lose all the benefits. For example, the protein, fiber, minerals will not be impacted by normal cooking temperature. However, heating can deactivate the enzymes as well as reduce some of the vitamins, probiotic, antioxidants, and other beneficial phytonutrients. The degree is dependent on the temperature and time that it is held hot. The good news about this to me is that if you're going to make a dessert and you can still keep protein, fiber, minerals intact, it's pretty darn good as far as dessert goes, right? The rest, well, you should be rejoicing, because it should not be as potent if you heat it, because it would not be what we claim it to be. If we said, go ahead and heat it up, it's all good, nothing's going to change, then you know something's really weird, because we all know that once you cook something, it does change. So it is real whole food ingredients, it is alive, it is bioactive, and therefore some of them, like he says, will be compromised. To what degree, it depends of your recipe. I know there's a lot of recipes that don't require heating, that are supposed to be yummy. The only one I did is the pudding, the avocado pudding with the Shakeology.
Look, Darlene loves that one.
Avocado again.
And here's one of the most
important. Who loved that one?
Darlene. She was eating it earlier today.
Oh, that's so
Isabelle, I like to eat my Shakeology too. So I made a pudding, and I'm actually on the last day of the refresh. So I use the vanilla fresh, and I do the same.
Oh, that's great. So you must like the balls too.
Yeah, I like balls.
Heather, that was for you.
You're going to get me in trouble.
Heather, I know you're going to like the balls. I know you like many other things, but I know you're going to like the balls.
I'm a ball lover, yes. Yes.
Are we going to be edited?
You've seen a lot of coaches work the business, and what I want to know from you is, what do you think we as coaches can do to be more successful on getting more people onto Shakeology, and also keeping the retention higher with our current customers for Shakeology?
I saw that question. Just so you know, Heather, I am not part of the selling business at all, meaning I am not part of any of the systems that you guys are utilizing. Like, I know by listening to Carl, but I'm really not working that system personally. And I tend to want to talk about what I know of experience. But what I do know is human beings, because I am one, but because in my business, I deal with human beings that are not well, and that sometimes are very hesitant in getting well. Funny enough, some of us can be very attached to something that they identify for so many years. You become the ache, the chronic pain, or the disease that you have. It's very easy to become it, to identify to it. So sometimes, even when you hear the answer, there's an aspect of you who doesn't want to hear the answer. That's the challenging aspect of people in getting well, is to understand that you are not that, and that your true power doesn't come from a state, right? But from a beingness. So what I think is crucial is that you personally, I think what Carl calls the why. So I've explained to you the why for me. I've been ill, I've been desperate, I've been broke. I was broke. I borrowed the money, I did what I have to do, and I got out of it, because what's most important is to be well. Once you're well, you can achieve anything. As Carl says right recently, it's possible. So I came from a great broken place and went through it, never by being afraid to take risks and take chances, by committing, by having the courage to commit, by having the courage to want to be well above all else. So I think it's very important for coaches, and again, I'm not an expert at marketing. It's just me talking, so I can't pretend that I am Carl. This is why it's a good partnership here. But I know that first to make sure that your why is real. The Beachbody platform is definitely not a platform where all you really want is money. It's not set up for that. It really is set up in, if you really want to help yourself, and through your own transformation, you are so thrilled that you want to share that with other people that you care for, and eventually, hopefully, create a caring for all people. So you have to make sure that your why is real, because sometimes we think it's real, but if you investigate, it's not. Example, concrete example. Many people will come at me, and I see the YouTube videos, and I get thousands of questions, and I get a lot of attack on the price. If my why, if my knowing of the product was not solid, if I was not coherent and honest and grounded in understanding my product, knowing why it costs 120 or 130 something as opposed to 20 or 30 bucks, understanding and being proud of it, that Carl, I, Darren, and everybody at Beachbody did not get in the business in order to put out the cheapest product to be as successful as possible without really caring of the consequences. We care that this product would actually make a difference in people's lives. And we don't hire movie stars and people to promote. We count on experiences from each one of you, word of mouth. So my why is solid. So when someone attacks me on the price, I do the best that I can to give them my answers of why, because I'm living it, I'm in it, I'm part of the making of this product. So my why of this price and my why of what the product is about is real, grounded, solid. Nothing can rock me. 1,000 people that knows half of the real story and assume that they know the whole story and will attack the product doesn't sway me. I get it. If you get human behavior, you get it. And it's okay. And to each his own. It's all good. That product came from my and Darren's experience, what we went through in life, what we were able to create together with the help of everybody at Beachbody, with the help of Carl giving us that platform. It was what we could create to help others because it helped us. That's what we created. Does that mean that everybody's going to want it? Absolutely not. But when somebody attacks us, it doesn't sway us whatsoever because it's honest, it's real, it's grounded, it's coherent. We know what we're doing every day, day in and day out to keep this integrity. And so when I hear coaches there's almost a shame on the price or, a defensiveness, and then they get angry at the consumer or they attack back and they're not clear. There's no clarity in their response and calm. So I think it's very important for each one of you to be very clear on your why. If your why is money, at some point it's going to fail you. First of all, money by itself will never be a strong enough why, no matter what. So you have to understand that the platform is built for truth and helping. So you being in your truth and you knowing your why and knowing your products and asking all the questions so that by the time you're in front of a possible client, by the time you're in groups, by the time you do Zoom call, you are solid. And you are totally okay with someone that the product is not for. And that's okay too. But you cannot be swayed into shame. There's no shame in providing health on the physical, emotional level, right? There is no shame in selling a product that actually helped you be healthy, your friends, your family, and then others, and getting financial wealth as well as physical, emotional well-being and wealth. That's all abundance. Abundance is a state that you trust and want to share. It's not just money, but it's all of it. So there is no shame. There is no shame in believing in your product. There's no shame in having lived it and sharing it and allowing yourself to have abundance on the financial level as well as health, and saying to someone else, you also can have abundance in your life. There is no shame on that. So if you have shame on any of that, I think it's very important, Heather, to sit down with yourself, write down what you're shameful about, and go at clarifying that for yourself, so that every day that you get up and are a Beachbody coach, you are truly proud and truly in service and thrilled to be doing what you're doing. Because listen, any work that requires more than one individual will mean that you will deal with human beings. And obstacles and challenges will come your way. Any long-term relationship is challenging. So being with someone for 2 months, sex is great, everything is wonderful. Being with someone for 20 years with 3 kids is a whole other type of love. So that's how I see the Beachbody platform. It's a long-term relationship based on truth. Do you really want to help? Do you really love your product? Do you know your product? Are you okay with getting resistance? What makes you not okay? Which one gets to you? Write those questions down and answer them. Find the answer. Find your peace with it. And so that's how I feel you can be the best at in terms of retaining. Most people that try the shake for at least 30 days feel the difference. And so it's not about that. It's about who you are as a coach when you show up every day. I really believe that. So when I show up in front of you, I don't even think of selling. I'm not saying that I don't want people to buy it. Of course I do. I created it so that others would enjoy the benefit. And if we don't make money, we can create products. So of course, any company in the entire planet requires this give and take. We offer you this and you give us money, because this is how the world runs nowadays. So I'm not saying I don't want it. Of course I do. I want to keep making more. I have tons of other ideas. So does Darren. So this is not about denying the well-being of all that. But I really don't show up here thinking, oh my God, I hope I make them want to keep buying it. It really is not at all, not even in the middle front of my head. So I show up here because I've done that my whole life. I'm just doing it with Carl and Beachbody now. But my whole life, I showed up in front of individual and I shared my knowledge of what I created to enhance their health. My whole life. Before the shake, it was my knowledge and my ability to help people transform their diet and their physical activities. So you see, it's about this solidity in you, this true belief because you've experienced it, and sharing that, but knowing yourself inside out, so that there's no hesitation in why you're there and what you say. Does that help at all?
That helps actually more than you have any idea. That helps a lot. Because you've made me now think of it on a level as I post a lot of things that may be offensive to people. And I say a lot of things that may be offensive to people, but I don't care because that's me and I own it. So to think about Shakeology in that same retrospect where it's like there's nothing to be ashamed of. This is how you feel about it. That's your why. This is, your passion, and the great things about it, and you are willing to share that with other people. And not everybody's going to see things the way that you see it, because we're not everybody's cup of tea and everybody's not ours.
That's right. Just like you said, I saw that and I love that. And it's very well said, Heather. And we have to be okay with that. And it's the same thing about that I was discussing about loving yourself before you look perfect, before you're size 2, before you make money, before your hair is perfect. That's not love. That's conditional love. What happens when you're not perfect anymore? What happens when your hair doesn't look anymore? What happens when you age? So that's not love. That's not self-worth. That's a Band-Aid. Now, it might be an entry to self-love, but the transformation continues. So this is what it means to me. So it's well said. This has to be real for you. And, some people will not be able to afford it. That's very true. And thank God there's some product that has some benefits that can be cheaper. that's not what I set up to do. I set up to do the best that I could and see how much it would cost, right? And it could have been a lot more expensive, but Darren and I figure out, we had to figure out how to make it work that was still affordable for more people than less, because we do want to help a lot of people. But some people will be truthfully telling you the truth that they can't. But if you handle that with love, handle them with integrity, discuss all that you know about the product, share the beauty of it all, or any other product on the platform. If you were kind and have empathy and compassion and were not angry because they didn't say, oh yes, not everybody's going to say, yay, I'm buying, of course you're selling something. Of course you're not going to get a yes for every single person. But if your heart and your attitude was with integrity that way, they will feel good talking to you. Their memory of the Beachbody platform will be a positive one. And if one day they can afford it and you put a seed in their mind, they may be back. Now, you don't do it in order to get them back. That's conditional love. But they may be back. And your healing power as a coach to help people transform has already happened. If you helped someone who's unhappy with themselves feel heard, accepted for what they are, let them be in a negation state. Let them say whatever they need to say to them without judging them, because at the end of the day, they're probably judging themselves a lot harder than we can ever imagine. And so if you were that open and that kind and absolutely okay with the consequence and let them go, you've already healed someone. You've already helped them. How often are we truly heard, even by our best friends? And so to me, the work of a coach starts on the phone, starts on the Zoom call. Are you really there to enhance in whatever way? If it's just that one phone call, so be it. That's okay. And that allows you to not be a resentful coach. If your why is to enhance someone, then every aspect of it, if it's done with this intent, you should feel good about yourself. And some people have the drive to go diamond coach. Some people want that, and some people won't. Find your truth. So people that are diamond coach works their butts off. They want it, right? It makes them happy. And so if you're not someone who has that kind of drive, i.e., I will never be a CEO in this lifetime. I don't have what it takes to be a CEO. Carl could not be anything but a CEO, right? He's built that way. So that's his truth. I don't resent him. I don't feel less than him because I don't have that drive and I'm not a CEO. I know who I am. I know what I want to do, what fulfills my heart. So when I see coaches sometimes that will resent the whole how much work needs to be done to be a diamond coach, but I see that they resent themselves for something that they judge themselves. Does that make sense? So then they become a resentful coach. Oh, Beachbody is just about making money. If you can't be a diamond, and it's like, no. The platform is about helping others at whatever level is good for you. So find that out. Be honest. How much hours do you want to put in? What do you want back from it? What is it worth for you? Why are you there? What's your truth? And so that you don't resent the ones that make 3 figures and millions of dollars, and you're perfectly happy making a few $1,000s to round up your month to help pay the bills or pay for school. And that makes you happy because that's how it is for you. And that's absolutely okay. Carl never says that's not okay. So when I hear all that stuff all over the place, I know it's someone that's not happy. I've never seen someone who has money be angry at someone else for having money, So the amount of work, the amount of money, and the amount of truth of why you're there is something that only you can be honest about, Heather. only you can sit down with yourself. Who am I with this work, with this product? And figure out what it is for you. And then go. Does that make sense? Does that help you? Because I just so want to help.
You say you're not sales, but I think you may be better than sales because you talk from a human nature. You talk from the human aspect of it, where it's great to get that information sales wise, but we all say we're not salespeople. We're in it to build relationships. So hearing from you versus the sales department or the marketing or whomever, actually speaks volumes. It's better for us, to be honest with you, because it gives us a better platform to speak to our clients on. A more personal platform to speak to them on.
Thank you. And I appreciate that very much, because I so want to help. And when the sales question, I'm always like, oh, I hope I can help. But the beauty also is that you have both of these aspects. That's what I love about Carl and I. It's this complement. And I think the Beachbody has that. You can complement. You do have the tools given in the most coherent way from Carl, to help sell. And then you have the heart, the human experience, all that. And together, I think it's the best, right? It's the best synergy.
That's it for our questions.
Oh,
We got through them all.
Thank you so much. I can't see everybody, but are you all clear, everyone?
There we go. Everybody good? What do you think?
I don't know if I missed it, but did we ask the question about the 6 salads? How everyone, like the coaches?
That one got taken off the list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We answered that. I don't know what the salad is, but
yeah, Colin revised my list question, so don't worry about that one.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, I mean, gosh, I feel like we're all a lot more enriched right now. I feel like, we stand behind you, we stand behind your mission, we stand behind Carl's mission, and you have so much heart that is just amazing. Like, we all feel so much better. I feel like you guys feel like me. I feel like I'm overflowing and I want to go and get out there and help people, like right now.
Except the one with the salad question. She's not so happy.
She's
Can I ask a question about Daily Sunshine?
Oh yes, go for it.
Well, it's a lot less ingredients. It has a different flavor to it. It's a lot simpler, but I've heard from a few parents that it contains too much sugar, so I don't know enough about it to talk to to fight not to fight back, but to educate them.
Well, you should go and educate yourself to make sure you can reply. There's a video that I have that's available. It's a top 10 question for Daily Sunshine, and it's completely talked about on that video. So the answers are out there. And actually, I never understand that question, because it really has very little added sugar, and it's really from the fruit blend. So if you think go ahead.
No, I'm so sorry. It was a background noise.
Oh, so if you think of, I think on the video I referred to banana or apple, 14 grams of sugar, 19 grams of sugar. That's just one fruit. You will never think of telling a child not to eat an apple because it has that natural sugar content in it. So compared to that, the Daily Sunshine has overall 7 to 8 grams of sugar, but only 3 added sugar from organic cane sugar to round up the taste. Again, because when we did a taste test, most kids required they want things a little sweeter. This is why it doesn't taste the same. And a lot of kids will taste the bitterness in Shakeology, however subtle it is. So there is only this 3 grams of added sugar. Everything else is stevia and natural sugar from the fruit blend. So it really isn't a lot. Especially go out there and check out. Please do that. Again, do your research. Check out what's out there.
The one the one parent said she's a nutritionist, and she told me that, and I knew. I mean, I right away answered back and told her that it was all from the fruits. But
only three
yeah, so
added sugar. That's
3
all.
added sugars from cane sugar,
and go ahead.
yeah, like my kids love the flavor. They it's a lot more I don't know how to say it, but they can definitely for example, my oldest, he drinks Shakeology no problem. It's too strong for my little one, but he is very picky. But he actually I'm not gonna say he loves it, but he, at least my little one, tolerates Daily Sunshine, which I could never have him drink.
It was designed for kids.
Ecology, I did so many different yeah, it's perfect. So that it was just that it was at the added sugar. It's from cane sugar.
Organic
So
cane sugar.
she's a nutritionist, so I felt a little bit
but you haven't done your research.
You know,
it's wonderful that you do that.
Yeah, I have to.
You're talking about it, but you haven't done your research. So then when someone brings a question, you don't know what to say, and then you're impressed by it's a nutritionist. Right. 4 out of 5 pediatricians approved it, and believe me, these guys look at sugar. It's also a balanced formula. Once again, it's balanced with protein and fiber, which enhance the ability of the body to absorb this low sugar dose very differently. Same thing with a full apple. If you juice an apple, it's pure sugar. If you eat the whole apple, there's fibers, vitamins, minerals, and it's a whole different ball game. But if you go and look at the video that I made, there's a lot of video on YouTube about the Daily Sunshine. All these questions that could rock your boat are answered. Mm-hmm. Look at the ingredients, understand your product. I love that.
Thank you so much, Isabelle. I appreciate it.
But I appreciate it because you just made my point. So don't go out there naked.
Well, it's funny because I was going to end the call that way. I was going to say, you know what, we have to inform, educate ourselves.
You were going to end the call naked?
No,
yes, don't go, except for Heather. When you go on Heather's Zoom call, go naked.
But anyways, no, go to Isabelle's page, go to YouTube, research the heck out of this stuff, because you're going to feel more confident talking about Shakeology and about Daily Sunshine if you have the answers, right? You're going to feel more educated.
And we're hyper aware of sugar. We've constantly changed our sugar blend. We enhance all the time. And so this is something we're on top of. Like, we totally get it. This is why you have the answers. They are out there. So if you go for it and read and educate yourself, you will be armed to answer those questions.
Well, thank you so much. We've taken so much of your time, but we appreciate your heart. We appreciate, you coming on here and spending over an hour with us. I loved it. We had a lot of fun. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you so much, Isabelle, for setting this up for us. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Thanks for everything, Isabelle. Take care.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
I'll have this up on YouTube. You guys have a great
Amy,
night.
don't shut down your computer before it records.
I'm not.
Okay.
Saving it all.
Okay. Thanks, Isabelle.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.